Like, if you do not know the authority or the power or if basically if you don't know the identity of who you are, you cannot show up in a world correctly. You cannot show up and get on your Zoom because you don't even know what your Zoom is. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Unearthed with your host Katya Nalivata. Thank you so much for making it here. And today's episode is not going to be super long. It's just something that I have been learning. And if you are in a season that's similar to mine or not, I hope that you can take a few lessons. If not, like, wrestle with it. So for those of you that don't know, I really actually haven't explained this properly, but I'm in the UK. I'm doing my master's in climate change development and policy. And so I'm here for a year. I came here in September. So as much as this is about school and education, it is very much a very pivotal moment in my life. It's like a make it or break it type of year. And there have just been so many expectations around this year, expectations that I have put on the year and other people have put. And to be quite honest, it's all very valid and it's exciting. Like, I'm really excited to be here. I've been excited to come. It's something that I've been wanting for a long time, and so for the Lord to be so kind and merciful to give me the grace to actually come here and to, let me just say, I completed my semester. Actually, let me pause and just give you an update. The term papers were passed. We passed our first semester. We're finishing strong. Just wanted to put that out there. The Lord and I'd be like this. I'd be panicking, but he's like, you know. Anyway, it's like a year here and I've traveled outside of my country. This is my first time traveling alone. And I am turning 25 this year. So, you know, it's just like, okay, we're about to be 30 and you are finally making it into your grown era. You're finally becoming an adult. And so I there are a lot of expectations. Everyone is really excited, as I've said. I'm very excited to see what comes out of this year and what comes of me in this year and what I'm able to learn about myself and I'm able to learn about life and what I'm able to accomplish. But that made me very anxious in January. And it's because last year when I first got here, I gave myself a lot of grace. I was like, you know what, you're just coming here. You don't know anything. You don't even know what these people eat. You don't know where to buy food. You don't know where to get water. You don't know anything. So you're just going to relax and you're going to take it day by day. You're going to be easy on yourself and you're going to do school. You're not going to try to change your life and, you know, like start waking up at 4 a.m. and doing 2 workouts. We're not doing the 75 hard challenge. Like, yeah, you're going to sit down and you're gonna chill. And so I gave myself a time frame of about 3 to 4 months, which was basically the whole of last year. And just to, like, you know, pace myself and to find my routine. And so I was like, okay, when January comes around, specifically January, February, because January really is not the beginning of my year. That's kind of like a testing the waters type of month for me. But February, you're getting on your Zoom. You are locking in, you're becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like in this year. And you're gonna accomplish the things that you have set out for yourself. The Lord has also told me some stuff. So I was like, okay, we're gonna put in strategies to somehow accomplish what the Lord said he's gonna do. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's just what I was thinking. And so I started that, I got overwhelmed. And in Katya fashion, I got super anxious. And then I just became a bit paralyzed for like an entire week. And so now here we are, you know. But anyway, in all of that, I prayed about it. After deciding to panic and stuff, I finally sat down with the Lord. And I was like, okay, so I'm back. And in doing that, he reminded me to just go back to the basics. In doing that, I realized that I had been reaching out for these things, which I constantly do. It's like I never learn, but I constantly do. And the only thing I've really been called to in life is to get to know him. the thing that I've been called to in life is to have dominion, right? He called us to have dominion, but we can only do that if we know who we are. Like, if you do not know the authority or the power or if basically you don't know the identity of who you are, you cannot show up in a world correctly. You cannot show up and get on your Zoom because you don't even know what your Zoom is. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And so, honestly, my job this year, I believe, is to sit at his feet and to wrestle. Sit at his feet and to wrestle with the questions I've had. Sit at his feet and to get to know him. Get to know him outside of the noise and outside of everything I've learned from home. Get to know him, and in doing that, discover who I am in him. Discover how he wants me to show up in the world in this season of my life. And all of that, right? And when I sat and I thought about that, and I heard him say that, and I heard him remind me of just getting back to the basics of praying and reading scripture and finding him in scripture, and not necessarily asking for all these things he's already kind of like said, yes, it's going to happen, but aligning myself with what he wants me to do day by day. And when I say that, I don't mean that I'm going to start slacking off in school and I'm just like completely going to become, I don't know, like read the Bible from morning till evening and pray and not attend classes and not do what I'm supposed to do. That's not what I mean. But what I do mean is, in sitting with the Lord, there's a level of excellence, there's a level of work that he does require me to put into my education, because that's why I'm here, right? Like, I have to show up in the places that I have to show up in the places that he has given me grace to be in. And I need to show up as the best version of myself, but I can only do that, again, if I am connected to him. I sat with that and I thought of how, what if the greatest thing I do in this life, in this year, is to get to know God? What if just knowing God is the goal? What if my whole life is honestly just about that? Like, what if, forget about the accolades, forget about all these other things, these stuff that might sound great or look great or make me feel important or make me feel worthy or make me feel like I've made it in life and I got on my Zoom. What if my Zoom is honestly just to know who my creator is, you know? And I sat with that, and I've been thinking about it, and I've been wrestling with that, and I've been asking, like, will I be okay if that is the only thing that comes out of this year? Like, what if the only thing that comes out of this year is that I can say, I knew God. I started to know God. I know him on a more deeper, intimate level. I can stand here today at the end of this year and say, I'm a woman after God's own heart. And he can say that about me. What if that is the mission? What if that is what if that's just it? I'm not gonna lie, it has been like, oh, that's a little boring. Like, I don't know if that's all I want. I don't know if I would be content with that. I don't know if nothing comes out of this year and that's the only thing. I really don't know if I will be happy. And I sat with those thoughts, and I sat with why I felt that way. And again, it comes back to everything that I always say in every single episode, is that our perceptions of life are misconstrued. The way that we look at life, the way that we value certain things is broken, and that is okay. And we need to accept that, because if you really think about it, getting to know the one that created you, getting to know the one that spoke the world into existence, literally, he said a word, the thing happened, and boom, we have the earth. Okay, what's wrong with getting to know that person? The person that says that he has already gone before you, the person that surrounds you with himself, the one that is Alpha and Omega, he's the beginning and the end. What is so wrong with that being our sole purpose? And I'm finally at a place where I'm content with that. And it's not saying that I am going to give up on the goals that I have, or trying to better my life, or in the other areas of my life, like education-wise or with the podcast or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, I want my sole purpose for this year, and my sole purpose for the rest of my life really is to seek his kingdom first, because he says, seek my kingdom and the rest shall be added unto you. And sometimes I know we can have this incentive of seeking his kingdom, and I know that this was the case for me some years ago, because you're like, oh, if I seek his kingdom, I'm gonna get the money, and I'm gonna get this, and I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna get ABC and all the things. And yes, to some extent you will, you know, but life is more than that. Life is more than this capitalist idea we have of success and of wealth. And again, this is something I'm constantly harping on about, because I think it trickles down into every single thing that we do. We don't realize how our whole world is shaped by this capitalist idea of success. We don't realize how the reason why we wake up or we go to school or we do this job is because of capitalism and because of this warped idea we have of things. And the moment you kind of break the bubble and the cycle of that, and you start to see how it shows up in your own life, the more you start to change and you start to really live. You start to experience this joy and this peace that God is constantly calling us to experience. You start to really see that life is more than that. You start to have hobbies again. You don't live to work. That's not what we were created for. We were not created to work for the rest of our lives just to keep getting and attaining stuff. That is not what this life is about. And so, yeah, I am kind of challenging myself by even putting this out here to say that this year I'm going to know God. I'm going to know God more than I've ever known him before. And I'm calling you to do the same. And I'm calling you to step outside of everything else that you've probably written on your vision boards, to put God first, to seek him first. And practically what that looks like is when you're going through your goals, you bring him into that. You say, hey God, this is a goal that I want to have, and I don't know if it aligns with your plans for me. Please show me if it does. And if you're not sure yet, as you are going and excelling in all these other things and other facets of your life, you bring God into that. You pray over your studies. You pray over your job. You pray over your heart as you're talking to people in your job. If you're a digital person, you're like, Lord, as we're writing this code, may you help me write this code, because I'm sure he'd be coding better than all of us combined. Okay, well, when I say all of us, I do not know how to code, so like anyone would be better than me, but you get my point, right? And so yeah, I just really wanted to put this out there and just say, for anyone who is probably going through another pivotal moment in your life, and you are moving from your early 20s going into your late 20s, and you're trying to figure out the trajectory of your life, please take a moment to go back to the basics. May this year be a year where you go to the King, where you run to the Father, where you run to the Creator, where you go back to Jesus Christ, and you're like, help me. Help me love you. Help me align myself with you. And when I do that, that does not mean that life will not be hard. When God says that he gives us peace that surpasses all understanding, it does not mean that life will not be filled with anxiety driven things. It does not mean that life will not be filled with scary stuff. It does not mean that the storms will not come. What that means is the storms will come, but even in that storm, even when you are crying, there will be a peace that surpasses all understanding. There will be a peace that will let you go on every single day, even in grief, even when you lose someone you love, or you lose a job, or you lose something, you will be able to grieve but still experience joy. And that is the beauty of having the Lord on your side and being on his side. That is something that not a lot of people can say, but I hope that this is something that you'll be able to be saying as you're going through this year and as you're going through the rest of your life. Is life has been hard, but I have a God that is stronger, and therefore I am strong. Life sucks, the economy sucks, but I have a God that has provided for me every single day. I have a God that has given me ideas and shown me how to manage my money and made me more just excel in things in a way that you're not supposed to excel. I have a God that has shown me favor. I have a God that has given me grace and given me mercy and kindness, even in these really tough times. And so, yeah, I hope that you will join me on this journey. And actually, to do this, I am going through the 365-day Bible challenge, basically reading the whole Bible for 365 days. And I'm using Tara Lee Cobbs. Oh my gosh, I will write it down here and put it in the description box. So if you would like to join, I know that it's late. I know that we're already in the 3rd month, and I know a lot of people usually actually it's not late, but I know a lot of people would love to have started this in January, but it's never too late to read your word. And so yeah, if you would love to join me reading that, you can do it with a friend, you can do it alone. I would suggest you do it with a friend just to keep you accountable. You don't have to have a full-on Bible study, but at least someone who's like, hey, did you read, we're reading this today, So I'll put that in the description, and I hope that you guys have a lovely weekend and a lovely rest of your other week. I will see you next week on Friday, and as always, I am sending love and light.